I said I was going to make somebody famous. I wanted to be this lady. I wanted to be this lady. Diava Talks, and there's another one. We'll put her screen name up here. The video is going to be a little long, but please bear with me and watch it through because this is something that has blown up my TikTok and social media feed over the last few days. Multiple people with the same rhetoric, and I want to talk about it. Not as a Trump supporter, not as a Kamala supporter, not as any political particular supporter, but as a completely neutral party who just wants to understand why people are acting the way they are. So we're going to listen through this. I think it's about 20 minutes. If you have 20 minutes, if not, save the video, come back, watch it later, leave me comments. Let's talk about what is really going on here because it is pretty impressive. I'm going to kick it off.
Fucking sick.
You can tell she's already angry. Keep in mind, 82,000 likes.
They call themselves Christians, I bet, too.
This is a live stream, by the way.
I assure you.
1 second, let me get pulled over.
And I want to go ahead and preface this with, this is supposed to be just a clip with her talking to another individual with a slightly opposing view.
Okay, I'll mute you for a second. I assure you, I do not, I repeat, I do not.
She does not. This is very important.
My own idea of hell would have to be to go to heaven and spend eternity with these MAGA people.
Now, understand what she just said. She would, her own hell would be to go to heaven as a Christian and have to spend eternity with somebody who supports a political candidate for a short amount of time. Okay.
That would be my own fucking hell.
I don't know what she's done in her life, but I'm going to tell her right now that if you believe you're Christian and you believe in heaven, yeah, this lady's, if she ends up there, she's going to be there with some MAGA people, for sure.
I do not want to live for eternity with these people. I do not.
I also will note some of these comments here that are pretty insane.
I do not. They aren't real Christians. They're MAGA Christians.
I don't know that. I didn't know that MAGA Christians existed. I didn't know that was a real thing. I thought there was just Christians, but now there's MAGA Christians. That's a new.
Not real Christians. They'll never see those pearly gates ever.
They won't see the pearly gates because in the Bible it says no MAGA.
Sorry about that. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Give me 1 second. Thank you, Jamima. Jamima, thank you for the $5 or
Some people say I'm a Christian and I'm voting Trump.
the $10 cash. Keep calling them out on their bull. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Steve, are you a Trump supporter?
This year I will be, yes.
This year.
This year he will be. Now she's going to get mad at him for the sound, but this year he's going to vote Trump.
Did you vote for him in 2020?
I did not.
Did not vote for him in 2020.
Did you vote for him in 2016?
I have been a lifelong Democrat up until this year.
Yeah.
Lifelong Democrat up until this year.
Yeah, I don't believe you.
No, I'll give you the reason why.
No, I don't want your backstory, and I also don't want. You got a CB radio or something in the background. It is highly annoying. So if you can't turn that off, then I'm going to just move on to the next guest because it is very, very loud, and it's even louder for people that have earphones in. So you got to turn it off. If you can't, then I'll just move on.
She also said that she just doesn't believe you. The funny thing about people who are on the far left is they just don't believe anything that doesn't align with them.
No,
I'm drinking a Rockstar. Yeah, I don't believe you.
did.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
Not a problem. So
What I want to know is, I promise you, I don't want your whole story. I don't care how many people or who you voted for, Obama, blah, blah, whatever. I want to know why, after January 6th,
Okay, after January 6th,
after being convicted of felonies,
which were really misdemeanors.
After being adjudicated for sexually abusing somebody.
Adjudicated for sexually abusing somebody, that's a stretch. It wasn't really, he was never on a criminal trial for any kind of sexual thing.
After all of that, after stealing classified documents.
Didn't really steal classified documents. If he did, he would have been charged and convicted of that. Not convicted of it. And honestly, Joe Biden did the exact same thing.
Now this year you're going to vote for him. I can't wait.
Because I'm an RFK supporter. I would have put RFK above Kamala if I was allowed to do so.
So this is where player 2 enters the game here, who finds that RFK supporters are hilarious.
Worse.
And RFK is worse than Trump.
Another convicted felon.
I don't agree.
Good job.
Well, it's not about
birds of a feather. Birds of a feather.
No, it's not about
the man with
Okay, so this guy's trying to be respectful and have a conversation with this lady. She is blatantly mocking him with nonsense. Let's just imagine a scenario, a professional setting, where her actions are okay.
You mean the man with worms for brain?
I know you think you heard that, and you did.
And the man who put a bear in Central Park.
The man who has worms for brains and put a bear in Central Park.
The man whose own divorce decree admits that he is losing his cognitive ability.
Jesus fucking Christ.
The man who was twice convicted felon and then tried to appeal it and went to court in 2004 and they were going to charge him with more charges and then he went, never mind. The man who literally wrote down in a diary all the affairs he had on his wife and she ultimately took her life. Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty personal thing to say, that they're basically blaming RFK for killing his wife, which is not true. He's currently married to a lovely lady. That is a fact. Her name is, if you don't know who her name is, it is Cheryl Hines. She's real popular on the show Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Okay.
See, and here's the deal.
Birds of a feather.
And she's been married, they've been married since 2014.
Here's the deal. Here this man comes up, right? He would rather vote for RFK or Trump, both of which who are felons, who are both losing their cognitive ability, one who has worm for brains.
Okay, so if you want to have a conversation with somebody and you want people to listen to you, you cannot say they have worms for brains. I'm rewatching House, TV show, and I'm on season 1, episode 20, and currently have yet to see the diagnosis worms for brains, so might be a spoiler alert. We'll see.
Who took a bear into an unalived bear into Central Park.
I don't really know what the unalived bear in Central Park thing has to do with anything, the dead bear in Central Park. I'm really confused at how that is like the big determining factor of anything.
Like grotesque things.
The grotesque things were not really, that's okay.
Rather than a beautiful woman.
Okay, so qualifying candidate requirement, beautiful woman.
Who's educated.
Who's educated.
Who got her law degree.
RFK also has a law degree.
Who went on to become a district attorney and a...
He did not choose to be a district attorney. He did environmental law. It's okay.
Attorney general, a senator, a vice president.
Now look, I know people who've had some job titles, and she had some job titles. Doesn't mean you did good job.
I'm aware of Kamala's accomplishments.
But you choose a man whose own you were going to choose a man whose own family doesn't support him.
That's not true. It's not true at all.
What I'm saying is,
All right, the lady talking right now is this one right here. Sunrise something, Sunrise Special, I don't know. Sunrise DEC is her username. 963 followers. Definitely way more followers than someone should probably have that says that people legitimately have worms for brains. But here we are. If you want to follow her and see what other kind of an interesting, hilarious content she has, there's her name. Right there, we can make her ass famous too. Why not?
Who has no accomplishments. Zero.
She just said that he has no accomplishments. Zero accomplishments. The billionaire has zero accomplishments, and RFK also has zero accomplishments. It's 70 years old.
Zero accomplishments. He couldn't even make it as an attorney.
Couldn't even make it as an attorney.
He failed at being an attorney and literally tried to live off the Kennedy name, and then literally tried to use the Kennedy name to get out of serving jail time.
See, and it just bothers
These aren't facts.
me, and it just hold on, sir. It just bothers me, and it's so frustrating. And I'm not accusing you of anything. I really.
You probably, well, you're not accusing him of anything, but you just stay tuned.
And I really want you to know that I'm not. But
Okay, she specifically said she's not accusing you of anything.
it just bothers me as a black woman, because it's just like, what the hell does a black woman have to do?
Okay, so she's a black woman, and now she wants to know what a black woman has to do. Race should not be any part of your electoral candidate decision at all. If you show up to a job interview and you put down black woman and you're mad because you didn't get picked for the job because your criteria wasn't good enough, there was a better applicant than the black woman, you can't put that on there as a requirement. It's so crazy. What does she have to do? I tell you what she has to do. She has to do a good job. If she did a good job as vice president, people would probably support her.
To show that she's actually qualified.
We know she's not qualified because for 4 years she's been in office, and you ask her why things didn't get done, she literally said because for 4 years Donald Trump was running for president. Somehow that stopped you from doing your job. That's bananas.
Like, you can literally put all three of them on a spreadsheet, on an Excel spreadsheet, and columns, and literally dictate all of these things, and she will still come out far ahead of them.
I don't think she's going to come out far ahead.
But it's people like you who won't even credit her for her accomplishments, her successes, or anything. Like,
look, if you want to go back to being a DA, you want to go back to being a prosecutor, you want to go back to being a congresswoman or a senator, do that. Maybe that's the job for you. But the president, this is not the job for you.
you were literally about to vote for a man whose family doesn't support him.
That's, again, false.
Who has cognitive.
And we honestly have to sit here and say that Trump's family doesn't support him. Eric Trump, Don Jr., Ivanka was on the cabinet. I don't really know what we're talking about right now.
Issues, who isn't even able to withstand a successful marriage. Neither one.
I don't know where she's coming up with this.
One of them, both of them.
Also, let's just point out that being married shouldn't be a criteria for president either. It's an irrelevant criteria.
I would have ideally loved to vote. I would have ideally loved to vote for Michelle Obama if there was an actual.
Well, guess what? Here's your chance, because Michelle.
Okay, this is not your chance to vote for Michelle Obama. A. B. Michelle Obama is not a politician. Never has been a politician. She was first lady. That's not a politician. Being first lady doesn't make you qualified to be a fucking president.
Michelle Obama and Barack Obama both support Kamala Harris.
We can pull up a long list of people who also support Kamala Harris. Just because those two support, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Dick Cheney supports Kamala Harris. They didn't bring up that name.
Yeah, but Michelle Obama is not going to be a member of her cabinet. It hasn't been announced as such.
It don't matter.
RFK has been.
It does matter. It 100% matters. With what you just said, it 1000% matters.
Michelle Obama,
I'm just.
Michelle Obama and Barack Obama endorsed Kamala Harris.
What does that mean for Kamala Harris's actual ability to do the damn job? What does that mean? Does that mean they're going to pull the puppet strings from behind the door?
And you said that you were going to vote for him because RFK is going to be a part of his cabinet. Again, I ask you, sir, and I mean this without, and I'm saying this without any like accusation. Like I'm trying to say this respectfully. But you were just going to say that because RFK is a part of Trump's is said to have become part of Trump's administration if he so happens to win this election. Sir, you're really voting for two men who are both felons, who both are losing their cognitive skills, one by their own admittance in their divorce proceedings, another by clear indication in their most recent speeches, rallies, events.
Okay. I don't know about RFK's divorce decree. Maybe there's something in there that leads to that. I personally don't like to listen to him talk because his voice drives me crazy. That being said, what he does say doesn't bother me. He's very pro-health. I think that's a huge health problem. The environmental stuff, here or there. Trump, on the other hand, she's saying his cognitive ability is failing him. That man does like 2-hour rallies 5 days a week. 2-hour rallies, off the cuff, not reading off the teleprompter. He just did 3 hours of Joe Rogan's podcast, recalling tons of factual information. U.S. history, dates, people, all kinds of things. The man is an excellent talker, and he is very quick to not only answer a question, but even if you don't like the weave that he does, right? The little weave where he segues into other things, to be able to do that on the fly for any topic is kind of impressive.
Talking about the late great Hannibal Lecter, sharks.
I don't know what they're talking about, Hannibal.
Batteries. We're saying we're not answering any more questions.
He didn't actually talk about sharks. He talked about whales. The fact that wind turbines are driving whales crazy and they're dying, which is factual.
And just listening to music. We're on television, sitting on a towel because he's losing his bowels.
That's not happening. That didn't happen at all. That's just a made up thing. They just make it up. And that's fucking crazy.
Like all of that. Yet you won't support a beautiful 60-year-old woman who wakes up, goes for a run every day, exercises.
We don't know that that's anything factual. Again, beautiful black woman, not criteria to be president. Has nothing to do with your physical aesthetics at all. And RFK is in very good shape. This man, now I'm going to the RFK scenario. He is in good shape. Trump is in A shape. Now, is it the peak of physical fitness? Absolutely not. But the dude can stay out there and play golf for like a hot minute. You know, he look, there's nothing stopping Trump from doing the events that he's doing. He's not slowing down. He doesn't look to be affected in any way by running for president or being president. You might not like his shape. I wouldn't say he's the healthiest guy alive by any stretch of the imagination, but RFK is in good shape.
Every single day.
Especially at 70 years old.
Has her law degree.
He also has a law degree. We're just glancing over that.
Has experience being an attorney general.
He has experience in the legal realm.
A district attorney.
She also locked up a shit ton of black people for drug crimes and offenses. Like, probably, we'll say harshly, a locked them.
Aware of her accomplishments and what she has done.
She's the only presidential candidate ever in history to serve in every branch of government, and that's still not enough. What does?
Okay, that's not the criteria. The criteria isn't, oh, you were a this, you were a that, and you were this. Therefore, this is what you achieve. You get this promotion. That's not how this works. being president of the United States is based on whether you did a good job and whether people like you, right? So the question is never been, do people like you? Because the answer is probably no. And did she do a good job? Not really. Didn't really do any kind of job. I can't name anything that she did that was A, good, or B, that she did at all. For the most part of the 4 years, she was just MIA. Just gone. And we can't just ignore the fact that up until Biden and Trump's debate, she wasn't even a choice for anyone to be president at all.
A woman, or much less a black woman,
Okay, you got to stop saying that. You might as well put gay in there at this point. And she's not even a black woman. She is not even if you want to emphasize black woman, you better be more than like half black. She's not even that. Jamaican, Indian, whatever. Who knows, man? It's crazy. But stop throwing race out there. It's frustrating for the race card because they will want to paint a lot of people in this country as racist. But by admission of this conversation, you are in turn applying the race card to everything, which is inherently racist.
to do, like, for God's sakes, like, it comes off, and I'm not accusing you again, sir, I'm just saying, and this is
We shouldn't even bring up the fact that they just photoshopped her face on a white lady in McDonald's.
for people in the chat too, like, what it just comes off very misogynistic and
Okay, nothing he said is misogynistic. So not voting for Kamala Harris is misogynistic.
racist, because you can't compete.
So she said she's not accusing him of anything, but she's just accusing him of being misogynistic and racist.
Why
You
was I
can't
invited
compare.
in here if I'm not allowed to speak? I don't want to overspeak you because I do respect you.
Okay,
And
Go
And that's a very respectful answer to somebody who's clearly not interested.
respect what you
Go
do.
ahead, sir. Go ahead.
I was in yesterday, and the host said that she was attorney-ish. I didn't catch all of it.
I'm a paralegal.
Paralegal. I am a former, because of lost funds, a deputy sheriff for St. Louis County. I was a sheriff during Michael Brown.
So
I'm now a truck driver. That's why I had to pull over.
But
I still will be voting for Trump. It's not
we know.
the person. I don't like Trump at all.
that
But
makes
choosing
zero
between
sense
two
to
of
say
less
you know her
evils.
accomplishments, but you're voting for Trump. That makes zero sense. Explain why.
I'm trying
Explain
to.
why you're
I'm trying
voting
to.
for Trump.
It's kind of crazy that you're not even allowed to explain why.
I'm voting for Trump because of what I believe he's going to do for my current situation, as opposed to what has happened over the last.
Selfish.
That's just obnoxious. This is an obnoxious response from this lady. So he's choosing to vote for his political candidate based on his life experiences, what's best for him. In a democracy, that's what you do, right? You vote for what's best. What do you think is going to be best for you, your people, right? That's what we're here for. That's your freedom of speech. So you get to pick your candidate based on your life.
Me. Fuck the women in the country that don't have
He didn't say that.
their rights. Fuck LGBTQ that have all these laws written against their bodies,
There's no laws written against LGBTQ's bodies.
against themselves. I mean,
Oh, against themselves. That doesn't make any sense. So show me one law against an LGBTQ person. Just one. I'll wait.
fuck everyone else as long as me. My trucking business, my whatever.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's trying to make a living for his family. But fuck him.
That's the problem.
He should be really concerned about the LGBTQ community and apparently women's rights or something, which is only going to come back to Roe v. Wade, which was only made the state's decision and not the federal decision.
You are not voting for the collective, for people.
feel like he is voting for the collective. He's voting for himself as part of the collective.
People in the country that are having their rights stripped away from them.
No one's had their rights stripped away. Literally 0 people lost rights. The Roe v. Wade thing is the only thing that happened since Trump even became in presidency. And it only happened in certain states that if you have a problem with it, go vote for your state government. It's not, the president just said, listen, we're going to let the states be in charge of this. That's what, fuck that. The president didn't say it. The Supreme Court said it. The Supreme Court said, let the states be in charge, not the federal government. So if you have a problem with what your state does, go elect people there who have a different opinion.
It's about me and my job.
So you're saying I should vote for Kamala to worsen my situation to better yours?
How is it going to worsen your situation? He doesn't give a shit about truck drivers. What the fuck is wrong with you?
He absolutely does care about truck drivers.
Well, I
don't know if you remember Truckers for Trump.
I don't get any of the benefits of lower, no tax on tips, none of that. I don't.
I don't vote for myself. Right. I vote for the future.
Something tells me she votes for several people.
52 years old. How old are you? How old are you?
Me? I am 36, ma'am.
What state are you voting in?
So,
Missouri.
Yeah, that explains it.
Oh, that explains it. Apparently, that explains it. I don't think this lady even knows where Missouri is on a map.
In Missouri, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, more mockery.
That's not a joke. I say that every day. The only thing that's more bipolar than the weather there is the people. Oh my God. And as a former deputy sheriff, I can tell you that's true.
Yeah, I don't want to entertain this conversation anymore. It's just so disgusting to me that you can't go from being a Democrat your whole
I can't even agree that they had a conversation.
Life to caring about human rights, educational rights, LGBTQ rights, women's rights, and now because your fucking job is affected, now you want to vote for the shitbag that's going to take our rights away.
My job.
I would like to understand from her perspective what rights she stands to lose.
Was affected under Biden. I lost my career.
Not because of Biden.
That's on you.
That's on you.
Okay, so it's his fault he lost his career because defund the police happened under President Biden, and his department lost funding and had to cut jobs. So that's his problem. His fault. That happened to him.
If you lost your job in law enforcement for nothing other than you're trying to claim it's a budget issue, is that what you're trying to claim?
Yeah, I'm going to go to work for no pay.
Just so
as
you
a
know,
police
I
officer.
have 23 years with a law enforcement agency. Let me explain something to you, sir. If you were good in law enforcement, you would.
I probably should have seen who this person is that's in law enforcement, because I would definitely like to have a conversation with the people that employ this lady.
Be able to find another job. The problem with people like you is you want to blame everybody else for your own your inabilities.
I have a hard time believing that somebody who is this disrespectful to a random person on the internet, who is completely respectful to them, would treat, and I don't know what her position is in law enforcement, but in any capacity, this person is going to be highly prejudiced against a particular group of people and treat them unfairly.
Stop it.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't the fact that I couldn't find another job.
That
I
you're
was
in law
done with.
enforcement and you support the Trump administration, who harmed over 140 law enforcement officers at the Capitol that day.
Okay, the Trump administration didn't harm anybody that day at all. Not a single individual was harmed by any member of the Trump administration, period.
You are not in law enforcement, and you do not support
As opposed to
justice.
Biden, who turned his back on everything that happened in Portland, everything that happened in Kenosha.
No.
This man
Oh, they didn't like that.
is
There
a
we go.
racist.
There we go.
Yep.
When I asked, what did a black
Okay, so how is this man a racist? Portland wasn't even a race situation. They just took over Portland and destroyed the place. I don't think people even look. We're so fast to just replace a story with another story. I don't think people even remember the Republic of Chaz. Keep in mind, we are in a country, a democratic country, that has states that have laws. right? And you can't just look. You can't bring a gun from one state to the other, or weed from a legal state to another state. You can't do certain things. We have laws. But for a brief moment in time, a guy, I think he was a rapper, like an amateur rapper, decided to take over a few blocks of Portland and called it the Republic of Chaz. Wrap your head around that. Just think of a place in your town where a group of people can go ransack it and just claim it to be their own property. Their own people get trespassed for video recording somewhere else outside of a public building. These people took it over and just called it their own republic, and then we had to like law enforcement had to negotiate with them. That happened. Kenosha, look, that was a crazy, unfortunate situation that happened there. But now this man's a racist for bringing it up.
Women have to do the fact that you would vote for two felons who are both losing their cognitive abilities, that in comparison, I knew
Disgusting.
it and I called it. That's why I said what I said.
Yep.
Oh no, she said, if we go back to the beginning of this video, she said she was not accusing him. She was not going to call him anything at all.
That's
Why do
why
you
my
think
sign
Deanna-
says either you're misogynistic or you're racist.
That
Those are the two choices, misogynistic or racist.
part, I was just about to say, why do you think Deanna has that sign on her background? It's no other reason. There's absolutely no other reason. And that's why I said, what does a woman have to do?
A good job. That's what she has to do. She has to do a good job. She has to be able to speak publicly, answer questions, make tough decisions on the fly. She has to be respectful. She has to be somewhat a leader, someone that is firm, someone that you would look at and can count on, not a replacement, like a second string replacement. Look, it's got to be insanely stressful to be these people, like this lady. Like, her life has to be immensely stressful, because you can't walk around carrying that kind of anger toward people you don't even know and make up things and believe it to the extent. I mean, her saying RFK has worms for brains is just as batshit crazy as Alex Jones saying there's lizard people. Gotta believe it, or the frogs are gay, or whatever. Pick a thing. But there's a lot of them. There's a lot of people who live this life. And if Trump wins this election coming up, those people are going to have a real mental breakdown kind of situation. Real bad. Like harming themselves or others bad. Now, we have not seen, if you haven't been paying attention, we have not seen any violence from one side to the other since 2 weeks prior to the previous election. That's a fact. There has not been a rally. There has not been a riot. Show me a riot that occurred. There has not been one. Not a single riot has happened. BLM disappeared. Where'd all the supporters go? Just because the people who ran BLM were shitbags doesn't mean that you have to stop supporting this thing. Just get rid of the shitbags. But you can't. You can't do it and come back, right? Because nobody talks about it. They're just racist. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of odd. It's kind of interesting. If Kamala Harris wins, people are going to be upset, but there's not going to riot in the street. They're not going to be out here screaming at you. It's interesting. We're coming down to two candidates when one of them has been in office for the last 4 years and hasn't done anything. Arguably, probably does not deserve to be running for president. Now, there's a Democratic nominee. I think there's probably other decent candidates that got washed over in short notice. You had to pick somebody that you know. And Trump, they can say he's going to do whatever crazy things they think he's going to do. He was already president for 4 years. And he didn't do any of that stuff. So here we are. All I'm saying is, for America to move forward and to be a better country, you can't have conversations like that. That's insanity. That's just not okay. Right? You gotta let that shit go. I don't know. Leave me some comments. Let's talk about it. Maybe I'll try to do some lives through the YouTube or TikTok or somewhere where we can maybe just have some discussions about it, because it is alarming. Adios.